Yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's always a beautiful day. In my space, I make sure that it's always a beautiful day. It doesn't matter. And I know sometimes you ask yourself, but does she have challenges? Yes, I have challenges. I'm a human being, a normal human being that is going to face challenges, that is going to be stuck at some points. And that is why everything I talk about, it has literally happened in my life, and I have struggled through it, and I found ways of getting out of it. And now I get to share from my own personal experiences that if it worked for me, and some of these things, it's not a miracle cure that I'm just going to, to throw my miracle wand and it's all going to happen. No, it doesn't happen like that. We keep picking up the pace, and something that will work for me sometimes will not necessarily work for you, but you will have to find a way of tweaking it. So I love being honest, I love being open, and I love being vulnerable and sharing my truth so that we can be able to learn. And that is why we are in this beautiful growth space. So welcome. I hope that you are comfortable as we get into this discussion. And I hope that as you start your week, as you start your month, as you start your day, you can be energized. And as you end your day, you can be able to be thankful and grateful for everything that has happened in your life. So today, we want to talk about the mindset, okay? And particularly the action mindset, because so many times we have said, and now it has started to even sound like everyone is saying it, that until you do something, nothing is going to change. If you keep doing the same things, you are going to keep getting the same results. And I think we have said it so many times that now it's settling in and you're starting to get used to it, and you're actually doing nothing. You're just thinking about it and saying, but everyone is saying action, action, action. What do we mean when we talk about the action mindset? What do we mean? Well, what do I mean when I say whatever you have to do, do it now? What do I mean when I say that you don't have to procrastinate until tomorrow? You don't have, I think you've seen achievers. And achievers or successful people, significant people in the world, are not people that sat on their ideas for so long, waiting for a miracle time to happen for those ideas to come into fruition. No, it has never happened like that. I want you to look into, be very honest with yourself. Look amongst your circles or through your circle of friends or the people that you know that are successful, and tell me what you see in their lives. You'll find out that when it comes to doing, they actually keep doing and doing, and sometimes they will make more mistakes, sometimes they will face more challenges, sometimes they will do and drop, but one thing that stands out for sure is they'll be out there doing something every single time. They'll be out there doing something, whether you agree with it or not, whether you believe in them or not, whether they feel confident or not, whether they feel energized or not, they will act on their ideas. And the thing is, we all have ideas. We all have thoughts. That means it's not just a few or a particular segment of people that have thoughts and ideas. We are all creative human beings. But you know what has killed our creativity? Is because the moment we have the creative juices flowing, because we are thinking, because we have ideas that are flowing into our minds, and we never put them into action, your mind, you are actually training your mind, okay, that we should never do anything about anything. So this is what happens. Whenever you conceive an idea, you sit on it because you fear people will judge you, because we've gone through those things. People will judge you. What will people say? What if it doesn't work out? You know, all the reasons that we give ourselves. If you don't know those reasons, go back to the previous episodes and watch some of them, because we have good, well-packaged excuses all the time. We are waiting for a perfect time. Because if I ask a few people, why is it that you have failed to activate or to do something about the ideas that flow through your mind? And this is what happens. You conceive those ideas and you even get ashamed because you feel they are less than, because you feel they are silly, they are stupid, they are foolish, because then you're thinking, if I tell it to anyone, anyone will tell me, that one, so many people have done it before. There is nothing new under the sun. There is no idea that you're going to conceive or that you're going to gate or think about, and it's going to be brand new and it has never been thought about. The only thing is how we activate these ideas is different, because we are gifted differently, and we live in different countries, in different time zones. We are gifted differently. That means even if we perceive or we conceive the same idea, and we can be able to do it or apply it or execute it in 2 different ways, because we are 2 different people. And it can be 100 different ways, because we are 100 different people. Just imagine if you just got out of your mind, because one of the mindsets that I want to talk about, one of the things that helps us quickly go from thinking to action, is us having a positive outlook, a positive mindset, and dwelling and having positive self-talk, because self-talk is something that keeps us and limits us so many times, okay? Because we speak to our minds. When you get something, let me say, okay, I want to set up a washing machine at my village, so that I can do a laundry show. People will bring their clothes, they will bring their duvets, they will bring all these things, and then after that you're like, now they're going to laugh at me, they're going to say, but who is going to bring? Everyone is washing their clothes at their homes. And what? So you see, no one has told you that, because people that do not take action, most of the times they die with their ideas without even mentioning them to anyone, because they have already talked to themselves out of that idea of how stupid it is and how foolish it is and how no one is going to understand it. So they keep it, they strangle it. It's like we are busy strangling our dreams every single time. We are busy strangling our dreams, our ideas. It's like if it were in the normal process of giving birth, so many of us, this is what's happening. We are busy conceiving and aborting our dreams and ideas. You conceive, you abort. You conceive, you abort. The issue here is, it's not that you're infertile. No, you are so fertile that you have gotten so many ideas over the years. But because you conceive and abort, now there is nothing like whenever you conceive, it's automatic. The other time you used to speak to yourself, okay? You used to do something, but now you're no longer doing anything. Now it's automatic, because your brain has gotten used to you conceiving ideas and aborting ideas, you conceiving ideas and strangling ideas. And some of us, even when we go through with the pregnancy or conceiving of ideas, and we go through the pregnancy and we give birth, we strangle the baby. Why? Because of so many things that are surrounding us. But I don't want us to go that far in the pipeline. I want us to stick to the conception of the ideas and how we can quickly turn that into an action mindset, as in, go get it, go do it, okay? And make sure that you implement it. Remember, I'm sharing part of the things, or the things that I've done that have really worked for me. Now you can tweak and be able to apply the same thing. But number one, I said, we have to be able to revise our self-talk, because it has kept you at that point for so long. Okay, now you have to be able to achieve, and there's a time I talked about getting unstuck, and I say that character traits, one of them being the positive attitude. Okay, we can be able to develop it. It's a choice that we make. Now, the moment you start positive outlook, the positive self-talk, you begin to activate it in your mind, even when you get the smallest of ideas, and the smallest of ideas of saving, the smallest of ideas of maybe I want to start a workout routine of some sorts, maybe the smallest of ideas of reading to get more knowledge. It can be the smallest of ideas of just keeping a hygiene, or clutter-free environment. It can be as small as spending more time with your children. Now, when you conceive such an idea, then sometimes you're like, but that's not much of a big deal. I will always find time. I will always find time. But for people that have been successful, and when we talk about successful, so many of us think about money. It's not about money. If you can spend more time with your family, you are successful. If you can be able to turn your thought into action, okay, into positive action, you are your positive thoughts into positive action, your positive ideas into positive actions, you are successful. Success is how you define it, and we've redefined it so many times. For as long as you are progressing one foot in front of the other in the matter of that thought, then that means you are a successful person. A person that is unsuccessful is one who thinks and never acts, is one who sits on themselves, sits on their ideas, starts grumbling, and is doing nothing and points at other people expecting that they're the ones that are going to help them. But you are the one that has to take the responsibility for your life. So positive self-talk, it goes a long way. There are so many times I've told myself, okay, I think I really need to do that. So in order for me to do that, I think I just need to act. Number one, if it's about having more time for my children, I'm like, okay, I'm going to sign out of work quite early. And I'm going to say maybe 4 p.m. I'm going to decide and say, I know for so many of you are not self-employed or not in the middle of self-employment and employment. But if you can be able to say, okay, I leave work at 5, so I must be able to go straight home because I need more time with my children while they still have time before sleeping time, because the following morning they have to go to school, so they sleep early. So that means I need to be able to maximize the time between 6 and 8, because that is the time they have, and at 8 they should be in bed, and then the following morning, so by the time week ends, at least I've redeemed a few hours with them. And maybe on Saturday I'm going to spend this much time with them. I'm going to do my morning routine with them. Now that is, you've thought about it and you've thought that, oh, it's a good thing, I really need to do it. So you go ahead and actually activate it. Why? Because when you have the positive self-talk, you'll be like, I'm doing the right thing, and I'm not going to say, it really doesn't matter. No, I'm not going to talk myself out of it. I'm going to say it really, really matters how much time I spend with my children. And even if it's the time where I'm driving them to school, for me it matters that I'm speaking into their lives and they are listening to me, and their minds are fresh, and even if they need to rest, they rest, but knowing that mommy is there. So that is important to me. What is important to you? Is it a business idea that you conceived or that you thought about? And some of these things come by looking at what others are doing. And you're like, okay, just imagine the person that is doing Jumia just got to know that, okay, people need their merchandise delivered at their home. Not everyone has time to go to the stores, to go to the supermarket, so people need their stuff delivered. And it's possible that she thought about it. Now, the longer you entertain it, you realize that it's positive self-talk that entertains the idea. Because when he conceived it, chances are maybe, I'm just thinking, maybe randomly, that maybe he didn't have the capital. But again, when he thought about it, people need their goods delivered. Positive self-talk, that's a good idea. We can think about that. Next, but we actually don't need to have the capital, because maybe the next thing was, so how do we organize capital to have all these things, because people are going to ask for versatile variety of things. How are we going to do this? You realize that you are asking yourself a question, but instead of saying, now there is no capital, now that is a dead end, maybe this person was like, how about, because I'm not going to be one person that is going to deal in all those things. I can go to Chikubo, I can go to supermarkets, I can go to all these places, and I'm like, what are you selling? Can you come on board? What are you selling? Can you come on board? Are you selling books? Come on board. That is why there are many shops on Jumia where different people are selling different things, but Jumia is standing in for them and saying, I'm going to put in a good word for you. When people buy, they must get good merchandise, be delivered on time, the refund policy should be in place, exchange of goods should be carried out well, and we should have a PR company out there, and we should advertise, and but you realize that it began with with one person who maybe got that idea when he was in bed. He woke up thinking about that idea, entertained that idea with positive self-talk, responded to every question that used to come, and maybe they shared it with someone. Okay, now that's the other thing. Before I even go into socializing our ideas, I need to go through the 30 minutes. Okay, the 30 minutes. This is how I've programmed myself, that if I have a new idea or something that I really want to turn into action, I spend 30 minutes on it every day. Now, the reason as to why for me I put it at the lowest, and sometimes I go 20 minutes, sometimes I will go even 10, because we are humans. It's not that when you set a particular time, you're going to hit that particular time. So that means every day when I walk into my office, I have a planner, and then I have notebooks around, and that is for brain dumping. So what I do is I sit down and make sure that I take time and know, even when I was developing Hold My Hand, I would take time and I was like, how is it going to work out? Okay, I want it to be, at first it was actually a women's thing. I want it to be a women's thing, so I'm going to write down everything that, according to my dream and according to my idea. I want it to be weekly. I want us to have follow-up sessions. I want us, to have, even when right now we are on to Hold My Hand, the membership version, okay, not the weekly free version, the membership version. I had to take time and write down, okay, because I need to be able to hold people's hands, not as a bandwagon, but as a one-on-one, so that I can give them enough time. So I write down my idea, and then after that, I will share it with my team. And then after that, we will have to, go through the procedures of advertising and putting it out there. Before you know it, Hold My Hand, the membership version, is taking root and it's happening. Why? Because I spend 30 minutes every day mapping down, and I will call it mapping down and working on it, even if it's to call the graphics designers, as in I make sure that I tie up all the loose ends and make sure that we have everything in place. I am working on my dream, and I'm just giving it 30 minutes. Now, it's possible, because whenever something is really interesting, I get carried away. So it's possible that I set 30 minutes, but I will spend an hour on it. I'll spend an hour and a half or 2 hours on it. And how much mileage will that give me? It will give me a lot of mileage, okay? And 5 years from now, I will look back at that dream that will have matured and maybe even given back to so many other dreams. And I'll be like, I am so glad this happened. So you realize that I gave it 30 minutes. Okay, I powered it. I usually call it powering it. I powered it with 30 minutes. I powered it with 20 minutes. 20 minutes became an hour. An hour became 2 hours. And I didn't just sit down on it. I shared it with other people. And we'll talk about that. It's still in the moments to come. So power it, okay? Give it a specific amount of time and say, I'm going to work on it in this specific amount of time, and you will see that it will grow and you will not just stick to that particular time, okay? And then number 2, I would love you to, I don't know if you can adapt this, but for me, it has really, really worked for me. Asking myself, what is the first step? Because dreams are usually ambiguous. And sometimes when you think about them, they're usually huge. They're usually something that you can't just execute just in a moment, okay? Just at the tap of a finger. So most times we get discouraged. We tend to delay the process between thinking to action because we are thinking this is too huge. That is why we usually say that even an elephant, if you're to eat an elephant, you have to break it down to chunks, okay? If you Rome was not built in just a day or a month or something. We usually give those analogies, we usually give those explanations just to show you that you can't just have something done in a day and you finish that. Dreams are big, dreams are long, okay? So that means you have to take time to actually activate them. So I usually ask myself, what is the very first output? Because if I want to write a book, the thing is I have to write the first letters. I have to write the first chapter. If I'm going to create a course like Accelerated Mentorship Program, what did I have to do? I sat down because I played back and forth for all the courses that I've created. I played the back and forth of, you know what, it will take time, it will take, it needs these resources, it needs, I usually have those things until I came to a time and I was like, you know what, I need to be able to do the first thing, because one thing that I need, number one, is to be able to put it out there. So actually, I promoted accelerated mentorship before I even shot the course. So I was like, okay, first things first. I need to be able to put it out there and see the response, people's response. Okay, and when I got the response, I was like, okay, now I have all these ideas, all these themes, all these modules that I wanted, because I knew exactly, I envisioned how I wanted it to be. Okay, visualization is a very big tool. So after envisioning, and that is where most of us get stuck, we visualize big things and then we just don't know how to tackle them and break them into smaller chunks. Okay, so I asked myself, what do I need to do now that I don't have the big resources and everything? And I just knew that, you know what, if I shot one video, and at first I was like, you know, I have to shoot like hours of videos, like full hour of every episode. And then I was like, I really don't have to go through the full hour. I think I can do 20 minutes, and then I can do 20 more minutes, and then I can do 20 more minutes. So I broke it down to the first tape that I needed to do. And I was like, okay, first output. My first output is one video of 10 minutes. And once I shot that video, now you realize that I had something tangible in my hands, that the course had started. Okay? So I needed to know, what do I do next? What do I do next? But remember, I am building momentum. I'm building energy. Now that I have shot number one, I know that I have to shoot number two. I have to shoot number three. I have to organize them in 2 modules. Why? Because I did the first output. Okay? I took time, number one. I spoke very positively to myself and my dream and my idea. I did not shut it down. I did not strangle it. I did not abort it. Okay? So number two, I made sure that I get 30 minutes every day consecutively for more than a month to just think about it, put it down, turn it, see how it would look and everything. And then I did my first output. And I was like, okay, this is the first video of this course. And it's going to be an amazing course. The momentum is built and I am moving at a very high speed. And I feel nothing can stop me. And indeed, in that moment, nothing could stop me. Because how I actually created the course is, every day I chose, this time I did not choose the first hours of the day. No, I chose the evening hours of the day, because then I knew that I had time to plug in. Okay, I had younger children. I knew that when I go home, I needed to give them time. So I knew that I would give them an hour of my time after work. And after that, I would make sure that I lock myself up in my bedroom and work on this vision for 1 hour, 2 hours, or 30 minutes, whatever time I could. Because if you have time, if you have children, you realize that Ariella would be on the door knocking, Ariel would be screaming somewhere. So I would have the back and forth, but I would lock myself out, zone everyone out, give myself 30 minutes and make sure that I do it. So you realize that I got into action. There is nothing you're going to show in this world without action. There is nothing. Whether you want to lose weight, whether you want to conceive, whether you want to have a partner in your life, get a spouse, whether you want to deliver at work, whether you want to increase your productivity, whether you want, whatever it is, whether you want to have a good skin, good looking skin, there is a routine to it. There is a time you must attach to it. There is a positive self-talk that you must do. And there is a first output that you must do, that, you know what, in order for me to start this, there is always a first step. So I want you to take note of those things. I have put them as key indicators just to share with you. I know that your life could be different, but it's not so different from mine, okay? So those few things, we're still going on. Refill your coffee, refill your water. Let's come back and have more of this conversation, how to transition from just thoughts and ideas into action and creating an action mindset. And once you action, you put into action, or you activate the first steps, or you activate the first dream, you realize the momentum has been created. So you're going to be now a creator, creating one thing after another. And everything that we create is going to be beautiful, but most of all, it's going to be purposeful and it's going to pay, okay? At the end of the day, everything that we do, even if it's creating a better relationship, there is payment for it. Not payment that someone is going to pay for it, but you're going to have the mindset to be able to work better, and the peace to be able to work better and even get the money that you want. So whatever it is, even if it's to rekindle the love in your marriage, it is doable. From idea to action. That is the mindset that we must be able to cultivate and be able to apply in order to get to where we want to get. So do those refills, come back, let's have this conversation.